Florida Governor Ron DeSantis called Disney's lawsuit against him political, telling reporters at a news conference in Israel on Thursday that it has no merit. Let's watch that.
In fact, they've been treated much different than Universal, SeaWorld, and all these other places. And so they're upset because they're actually having to live by the same rules as everybody else. They don't want to have to pay the same taxes as everybody else, and they want to be able to control things without proper oversight, which every other Floridian has to have this type of oversight. All Florida businesses. So it's a little bit much to be complaining about that. I don't think the suit has merit. I think it's political. I think they filed, in Tallahassee for a reason because they're trying to generate, some district court decision. But we're very confident on the law.
Disney's suit against DeSantis alleges that the Florida Republican is harming its business operations and comes as a board appointed by the governor to oversee Disney voted this week to void development contracts that the company made. This is just the latest development in a continuing feud between DeSantis and the largest company in his state, stemming from Disney's public pushback against DeSantis' education policies, which included the, quote, "Don't Say Gay" law that prohibits gender and sexual orientation from being taught in public schools in the state.
So I should start by saying, look, obviously I agree, and you probably do too, that Disney shouldn't have any special rights or privileges that would not be afforded to other companies under the law. So if this is about like tax breaks or incentive packages or things, then fine. I don't actually know that that's what's really going on here, and in fact, I saw former Representative Justin Amash, one of my people, libertarian. We've interviewed him on the show before. He said the facts and law in this case are not good for Governor DeSantis. He and his allies took action not to make all companies live by the same rules, but instead to target Disney with harsh conditions that apply to Disney alone, all as punishment for constitutionally protected speech.
Yep. So DeSantis, you're right. It's political, but let's not forget who started this political game. The posture of this thing has gotten really blurred. If we put it in Disney terms, once upon a time, there was a company that got special tax breaks and the like in the same way that capitalists across the country and both parties offer all sorts of incentives for businesses to come to their state. The law of the land in America is that taxpayers subsidize all kinds of businesses with the promise that it will bring jobs to the state.
I'm a capitalist. I'm against all that.
Economic
I am totally against all that.
Sure, fine. But that is par for the course. It's not a partisan issue. AOC got a lot of flack from Democrats for objecting to Amazon coming to her district because she felt like it was going to be at the long-term cost of her community. Her community supported her. The Democratic Party did not. Okay. But that's the status.
They just shouldn't get any tax breaks.
They shouldn't get any tax breaks, right? Yeah. That's the status quo, and the conservative Ron DeSantis and Disney are happy about that. Ron DeSantis promulgates a law. Disney uses its free speech rights to make a statement because it was pressured by its employees to make a statement saying, "Don't love that law. Not a fan." Then there is a political prosecution of a corporation by the state because they don't like that they wrote a letter objecting to their law. So that is an incredible escalation from Ron DeSantis that was completely unnecessary. And now we live in a world where, yes, Disney has to countersue because it's being targeted by the state in what is, I gotta say, an explicitly authoritarian move.
Well, okay, so I agree with that from my perspective, but aren't you all about putting limits on corporation speak?
Yeah, absolutely, which is why this dynamic is so funny. So
the dynamic is interesting because conservatives are being hung by their own rope here because having established that corporations with their spending should have all sorts of speech rights. I actually totally agree with that. I have no problem with that. And this is that they were clearly exercising that here. And I don't know what is to be gained by Republicans for harping on them.
Even more than that, though, part of Disney's lawsuit is based on the idea of money as political speech. And so they're using a kind of Citizens United argument to be a person, to have corporate personhood and object to Ron DeSantis squelching their free speech rights. So as objectively, as a leftist and as a lawyer, I don't like any of that, right? But there is some kind of poetic justice for this kind of speech claim to finally be used in the interests of something like vaguely liberal.
Right.
Again, it's not that liberal because, again, this is a corporation that I don't think should be getting special tax breaks. But it is in contravention of a authoritarian government
they shouldn't
attack
be getting
that I also object to.
special tax breaks, period. But just like it is a violation, in my view, of the First Amendment for like the Biden administration to say Facebook needs to take down more COVID disinformation or I'm going to change their liability protection so that they suffer terrible financial harms, something that actually literally happened. Just like that, at least seems to violate the First Amendment to me. I think it would be similar for a governor, a Republican governor, to say, I don't like that letter you, and also this wasn't like the most egregious example of wokeism I can ever think of or something. Put out a letter I didn't like, so now I'm going to come at you with the power of the state.
Yeah, Disney was basically like,
obviously,
hey,
I don't know who would
people
defend
work here. And they don't like it. Like it wasn't even
right.
that
The argument
intense.
and the argument I'm seeing from conservative, social conservative, fight wokeness type people, as they're very happy on Twitter that DeSantis is doing this. I don't see a lot of I don't see a legal defense from them. I don't see them saying, this is obviously constitutional. I see them saying, DeSantis is fighting wokeness and no one else is, and we have to stand by him. Not a philosophical or legal defense,
right.
But just like it's an us versus them, and he's actually fighting, so we should support him. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Nikki Haley is offering Disney to move to her state as though it could pick up an infrastructure that's like the size of Manhattan and move it to another state. But Ellie Mistel, who's
that's what people in Congress should be doing. Not saying, if you relocate here, I'm gonna tax taxi cab drivers or something and just give you those funds as members of Congress and governors and state legislators often try to attract industries by that kind of scheme. This is most egregious with actually a related thing with the film subsidies. These happen in all the states. I remember when Michigan did this, and actually Georgia is the state that won because there's so much entertainment stuff produced in Georgia because of the film subsidies. But it's like a direct cash payment to studios to relocate to your state that is the government giving money to a specific industry that it raises from taxing other industries. I think in Michigan specifically, they raise taxes on small businesses. I think it was on taxi drivers or somebody else. Maybe it wasn't taxi drivers. It was something motor. Maybe it was food trucks? I gotta look this up. It was a small businesses in Michigan being taxed to pay a direct subsidy to entertainment companies to relocate to Michigan with the idea that you would start a permanent entertainment industry in a freezing cold state. Then what happens is some other state offers an even more over-the-top, generous
and there's an
direct
arms
cash
race
payment,
for
and they
rich
move.
people to not have to pay their taxes at the expense of poor people. You see this with sports stadiums and the like all over the place.
Sports stadiums, the same thing. Again, people are being taxed. Other people are being taxed. It's just a transfer of money from the small business owners already in the state to rich, powerful out-of-towners.
And non-business owners. It's worth noting that truly, for all the talk of business owners, God bless, most people are not business owners. So regular working people are being taxed.
A lot of them work at small businesses, and then maybe they take it out of their paycheck. Maybe they cost the pass on to the
Have you worked
customers.
for a small business? Did you have a lot of identity of interest with your boss when you were working at whatever retail or fast food job that you worked in your
if it's a local, if it's a small, but you are affected by by the financial.
All right. Well,
whether you feel that way or not, you are
since the most populous, the most numerous. Kind of working class job in America is in the service industry, retail, restaurants, et cetera. I mean, I think it's worth noting there's a way that we talk about business owners in a way that I think are racist, who most working class people are, in which big business, small business owners are used to insulate big business against the kind of policies they promote that are just like the ones that we're criticizing right now. That's all I'm saying. So this whole Florida business. Ellie Mistel, who's a legal analyst at Above the Law and on cable news, he said, look, I'm rooting for Florida, but I'm not too excited about any of this for the reasons that we've described. It's a real Mothra versus Godzilla situation here. It's not. I'm kind of rooting.
It's a Peter Pan versus Captain. No. It's two bad things. It's Captain Hook versus Ursula.
Oh, I gotta be team.
Well, we were talking about the Little Mermaid because we saw those really abhorrent, terrifying.
Is it like
photos
Captain
of
Hook
the-
from Hook or just like Captain Hook from Disney's Peter Pan?
I don't know. I picked two at random. I could have done better.
Yeah, I might have to be Team Ursula on that
Maleficent
one.
versus the Evil Queen.
I never saw that.
You never saw
With Angelina Jolie?
No, I was going for the original
Oh, the-
Sleeping Beauty one. I didn't see the Angelina
I've seen
Jolie
Sleeping
one.
Beauty once. It's my best friend's favorite Disney movie, so I watched it once for her, but it is very bad.
It's a little basic.
It's very boring.
a little basic.
Yeah, I'm much more of a Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast sort of a gal.
But like me, you were horrified by these photos of this fish.
Yeah, the audience loves it so much when you talk about movies that you're passionate about. Maybe we should do a segment on the animations that have come out about the new live-action Little Mermaid movie and how Flounder and Scully, what's the sequel's name, are kind of horror shows.
If this video gets to 100,000 views, we will do just that. Challenge to you, audience. More Rising right after this.